Hey there, Glenn with the Toy Temple, and this is a pretty big box. This is the Marvel Legends series, X-Men Days of Future Past, Sentinel, Old Man Wolverine, just giant box. I love this. Is it a little too big for my camera box? It sure is. But we're going to take a quick look at it and just see how far I can get with explaining what's inside. So the Sentinels, they're bad guys. Wolverine, he's a good guy. So let's... Ooh, it opens up like a garage door. Ooh, what's up?
Power failure in 5, 4, 3, 2.
I love it already. All right, so we got Wolverine up here in this corner. It's a little hard to see, but trust me, he's there. You got the Sentinel, and you got some other stuff in there, and... What in the world? Glenn! It's me! Well, you! From the future! 37 minutes from now. Why did you come back to now? I'm just sitting here reviewing a toy. Can't you go back to a cooler part of the timeline where you, me, us prevent some diabolical mastermind from taking over the free world? I came to this exact time at this exact moment because if you review this toy improperly, you could set off a chain reaction that dooms this entire timeline. Seas dry up, fire and brimstone coming down from the skies, 40 years of darkness, earthquakes, volcanoes, dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. Ghostbusters isn't a time travel movie. We're only doing time travel tropes. Oops. Well, in any case, this is heavy stuff. Our situation is dire. One minor mistake changes the world. Oh, okay. For a second, I thought we were under butterfly effect rules. I get one chance, so it's not a Groundhog Day scenario. Now I see it's a Back to the Future scenario. Cool. So give me some info on this giant robot. Sentinels are technologically advanced and have exhibited a wide variety of abilities. They are armed primarily with energy weapons, restraining devices, capable of flight, and detect mutants at long range. They possess vast physical strength, and their bodies are highly resistant to damage. Heavy stuff. There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull? Come on! I couldn't help it. That's a lot of exposition, though. Yeah, I thought saying all that was weird, too. So, do you want to help me with this review? That way I can get it right? I can't. I've already said too much. I have to go back. Well, wish me luck. No. Thanks. Going back to the center. So weird. Why is it just my show? Taking a look at the side of the box. Not much there. On the back, you've got Wolverine and the Sentinel just battling it out in a dystopian future commanded by an army of the ruthless Sentinels. Humanity's only hope is the X-Men, if they can survive. And the thing I like about the box, first off, it's enormous and it's heavy, is they recreated this comic cover from the Days of Future Past event. And on the inside of the door, you've got a few things of history about Days of Future Past, a few panels from the comics themselves, and it looks really cool. So now that I'm done gushing over this, let's hope I get this review right, and I hope you'll join me. And here's Wolverine and the Sentinel out of the package, and obviously you can tell there's a bit of a size difference between these two guys. Wolverine being the much smaller, much more compact X-Man versus the giant Sentinel. So let's do this. Let's go up and get a better look at the Sentinel. So the big guy himself, you've got the Sentinel just looking super intimidating. He's got quite a bit to look at here. And, you know, I love the purple. I really do. And the little center emblem right here, I'm guessing his power core, that lights up his eyes.
Life form detected.
And it has sound effects. I really like it. It's giant, it's enormous, and it fits with what I think the scale should be for a Sentinel. Now the Sentinel does have some pretty decent articulation. He's got double jointed elbows. He's got waist swivel. Sorry. Hinge on the wrist. but there is some movement. The shoulder pads go up just in case you want to make his arm come all the way up, but it's difficult because his arms are very, very tight. He does have some neck articulation. Just, man, very difficult. Going lower, he does have these Toy Biz hips where they're on kind of a ball joint instead of the peg. And I don't know if I like that. That's going to be, you know, he's not exactly like superposable, but just these ball hips are just very, very retro, especially for Hasbro. He does have the double jointed knees, but it'll take some effort to get that to actually flex. He does also have ankle articulation where he does go up and down, and there is some pivot in there, which is nice. Like I said before, the paint on this, it's not well painted, but there is some decent stuff about it. The face is pretty nice. I mean, you get some gray in there and around the mouth and around the eyes, but for the most part, it's just the molded plastic. And, you know, like for example, on his wrist, these could have easily been silver, you know, give it a little bit of detail. You know, just some panel lining, just a little bit of paint detail would have been really nice. Though I do love purple, I just wish there was a little bit more to love about it. One thing I wish the Sentinels had was maybe a blaster effect right here on the palm. Additionally, he could use some cables that come out and capture the mutants. I mean, there's nothing really to use. His hands don't...
Destroy.
Well said. His hands don't destroy, and I feel like they missed the boat on this one. They could have used some effects or some, you know, capture cables, anything. This version with its color palette is definitely faithful to the X-Men animated series, and I like it a whole bunch. Let's press one more button, and then we'll send it over to Wolverine. Okay, all right, we'll stop. All right, so now we're taking a look at Wolverine, and first things first, he looks old. I mean, that's kind of the point of the character, right? Is he's supposed to look old, so he's a lot more wrinkly, a lot more grizzled, and boy, look at that face, like he missed his social security check. I'm really digging the look of this, like the bomber jacket, I'm guessing cowboy pants. I like the belt buckle. The holster here, definitely not molded on. It is its own separate thing, and if you really wanted to, you could remove it, but I like it. And it keeps that dinky little gun well protected because you don't have to really look at it, because it's just a dinky, dumb gun, and it looks better in the holster, honestly. Paint-wise, around the hair, you can pretty much tell, yeah, he's old. He's got the white along there, and not much else. I mean, the bomber jacket looks awesome, but it's mostly molded plastic. The paint that mostly sticks out is right around the collar there, and maybe a little bit of brown got missed, but you know, it's not much. And the silver right along the zipper, I mean, you can tell it's a zipper, so they painted it very well. The belt buckle, like I mentioned, pretty neat. And that goes all the way around, belt-wise, back to the front. And they even got the little hoops of the pants, which is awesome. The claws are those plastic, dinky, I don't know. I know you can't put metal into a children's $20 toy, but I'm sure there's somebody out there that can provide real metal ones, because these will bend pretty easily if they fall off your shelf. Believe me. I've had a few Wolverines at this point, and this might actually be my third. So you can tell I like the character a whole bunch. Articulation-wise, he's got your usual Marvel Legends flair to it. Let's see, ab crunch, waist swivel, leg motion, thigh swivel, double jointed knees, ankle pivot, ankle rockers, wrist goes 360. It's got the hinge built into it so that he can look like he broke his wrist. Double jointed elbows, but man, these elbows are tight. Shoulders go 360, even with the bomber jacket. His head is on a peg, and he can look around a whole bunch with that. Look at him go. And just like every other Wolverine out there, you can take the claws out. So if you don't like his current claw situation, you can have him be really, really rude. Accessory-wise, he does come with a few things. I mean, the main draw is the Sentinel, but you do get the thin, dumb gun that I hope they retire pretty soon, and some additional hands. So, pretty good in terms of Sentinel, Wolverine, and some decent accessories. And for your size comparison, for Old Man Wolverine, you've got Young Man Wolverine? Anyway, that's the Chris Claremont brown-suited Wolverine from the Juggernaut wave back in 2016. And, you know, size-wise, they compare pretty okay. This Wolverine's just a slight bit taller, and I would think he's past his growth spurt stage in life, but, you know, maybe he's not. In seeing them together like this, it really points out that you need those butterfly shoulders for any Wolverine, because that way you can, you know, get the claws out, put your arms out, and start stabbing, because that's what Wolverine does. That's how he solves his issues. And, you know, I'm going to miss it on this one, but at least I've got two other figures that have it. And here's your, I can't believe I'm doing this, size comparison between, again, the Wolverines and the Sentinel. And, I mean, what do you want me to say? The Sentinel is enormous, and I love him for it. But I have nothing else that could compare to the size of this Sentinel, because he's so big. So all in all, what do I think about this crazy 2-pack? Well, I like it. I like it a lot. A few issues is it's hard to record a figure of this Sentinel size, and that's not a Hasbro problem, that's a me problem. This Wolverine, pretty sweet. Can't complain too much about it. It's a body style we've seen before. The bomber jacket, really neat. The holster down here, I like that a whole bunch. And he's Wolverine. It's hard to find stuff to complain about. Stuff that you've probably heard 1,000 times, you know, the claws and the bomber jacket reuse, but I didn't have it, so I'm happy to have it. And I do believe that the Sentinel is a reissue, but I didn't have a Sentinel, so I'm very happy to finally have one. That way I can pose my X-Men attacking and being captured by the Sentinel. What do you got to say?
Sentinel under attack.
See? Perfect. He's going to be under attack quite a bit. So I'm going to say 3.75 out of 5. I really like this set. The Sentinel's awesome. A few complaints here and there. Lack of accessories for the Sentinel himself, but otherwise, pretty great. So with that... Glenn! Glenn, you did it! You saved the timeline. Your future hasn't been written yet. No one's has. Your future is whatever you make it, so make it a good one. Thanks, never come back. Alright, Tin Man, we're sending you back to Oz in pieces. So with that, thank you very much for watching. Take a look at our Instagram and our Twitter, @TheToyTemple. Hit like, share, subscribe, and remember, you're never too old to enjoy the things you love.